I think I think you I think you should go.
Okay. If you think that's best. Just please don't go out alone. Thank you for the tea. Take care of yourself.
M- I'm sorry, honey.
I can and will drop a relationship, a friendship, anything.
What you're supposed to do?
It'll be fine,
Come on, Matt.
Cody.
What did you just do?
Thank you.
You
Thank
get
you.
money.
What? Donation to my
Wait,
cruiser.
stop crying.
How much?
What?
How much?
$100.
What?
What? Stop. Why? Don't.
$100, Pixie? Do you know how much I could
There
do
you
with
go,
100?
Shadow.
Thank you, Dad. I appreciate it.
How much was that?
We appreciate you both equally.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hi, Matt.
What's going on?
Richard's awake.
Okay, but what's going on?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I know the last conversation we had was shitty, and now I have to have another shitty conversation with you. So there was some brain damage from the hypoxia, lack of oxygen. Other than that, he's able to walk, he's able to talk, he remembers everything. There's been no issues like that. He is having some trouble with his speech, but I think with some time and some therapy, he should be fine. I brought him home from the hospital, but then he asked me to leave. So he is out driving around by himself. Ziggy and I were following him because he should not be by himself, and apparently he called the police. So I think he hates me. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Why would he hate you?
Sorry. Well, given our last conversation, it didn't go very well. I tried to explain to him where I was coming from in that conversation because I didn't really get a chance to explain myself, and he just asked me to leave. So
Okay, all right. I'm gonna speak to Richard and
okay,
try to figure everything out.
It's he thinks I'm evil. I think I tried to explain that. Sorry, I promised myself I would cry. I'm sorry. Okay. I tried to explain to him that the person that I was before the two of you became family, I'm not that person anymore because of the love and support that y'all gave me. And you helped shape me into a better person.
Well, the reality here is you don't have to explain that to me because I wasn't the one upset.
I know, but I feel like I need to because you're gonna
You
hear some
don't.
things and I don't.
You don't. You don't.
I wasn't trying to justify what she did. I was just trying to say.
I don't want to know anything about Rue.
But that's why he's
Nothing.
upset. He thinks that I'm like
Etta,
her.
you either respect this boundary or end the call.
No, I understand. I understand.
Because
sorry.
it's putting me in an incredibly awkward position, having been the person who responded to that call.
I wasn't aware of that. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go speak to Richard.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm in the
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna come
Hey,
Hey, honey.
honey, yeah. Hey,
I just got here. Here.
to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Sorry, a little under the weather, but we'll make do. We'll make do.
You
Let's
sick?
a little, nothing major. Let's go inside.
After you.
Why were you drinking?
Hmm. The reality is,
Family problems.
whatever he says, Rhodes isn't gonna stop him, regardless of how bad it gets.
Do you remember how much you had to drink?
Specifically because, regardless of what's said,
No.
Richard is gonna admit to wrongdoing.
I remember ordering at least 2 whiskeys. I don't know whether I had any more than that.
Well, I'm likely in the same boat as Sky. Don't really. I don't like how it was handled. Now, obviously, that's from the outside looking in, but anytime something happened with Remington, Alice would drop everything. And regardless of what the call was, unless people were actively being shot, there's no reason that there were no units available. The last thing that I would expect this police department to say or do is, there's no units, we can't help you, you're gonna have to run for your life. This police department has had 7 months to figure this out. 7 months. And right now, last I checked, we had 6 units on duty. Should be a fucking crime. um. How are you feeling?
I've felt better.
Um. So, Etta did call me and explain what happened. Um, specifically regarding you being in the hospital and there being some damage that can hopefully be, resolved with therapy and whatnot. Um, she did continuously apologize, and then she mentioned Rue, and honey, I'm not gonna lie, I pretty much shut down right there and said I don't want to hear about Rue, not once. And if you can't respect that boundary, hang up. I can't. I can't. And maybe she didn't have the information regarding me being the first person on that scene, or one of the first people on that scene, and I explained that to her. But honey, I'm sorry. I hate that I have to sit there and question whether or not somebody in our family is the person who committed a violent felony. And whether or not I can be involved in whatever investigation exists. And I noticed what you did in that conversation, and I'm not surprised. It's to be expected from you, truthfully. And I'm not going to stop you. I know I should. I'm not going to, because I know the type of person you are. And I know that you are forthcoming with everything you do, especially regarding the law in this case. But I need you to remember that there are much bigger issues to tackle, honey. Don't intentionally push yourself to get arrested. It's not necessary.
As you rightfully say, this PD has had 7 months. I shouldn't have to push anything for them to arrest me.
You're right, but you knew what you were doing when you told her to redo your Miranda rights.
Because I can't sit there and object to the actions of those in our family and then defend myself against, the things that I've done. That would make me a hypocrite. That's the last thing I want to be.
It's a major difference, though. One is mistake or decision. bad judgment call on how much you thought you could drink. Right? Because there is an amount you can drink before it's too much, right? And then there's willingly deciding to take somebody's life. And intent is the important aspect. You go on something or into something with the intent to hurt somebody, with the intent to kill somebody, whatever it is. It's far different than drinking to take your mind off things and trying to just distance yourself, have temporary relief from whatever it is going on. And then things getting out of control. Those are two far different things. 6 units, honey. 6. We have 7 months. And of the 6, me, Sky, are the 2 who were around for the skeleton crew, and Sky was a hire afterwards. Forte, I think, shortly after. Frost, shortly after. And then, Jules and Greenway. So essentially, all the recruitment over the past 7 months has gotten Jules and Greenway. And it's got nothing to do with money. Apparently we get paid very well at the moment. We can't encourage people to do this job with money. We can't encourage people to do this job on the basis that they're family. We can't even seemingly pretend that we're family at this point. Considering the best that gets you is we have no units, we can't help you, you're going to have to run for your life. If there's one thing, and I know you are going to take responsibility in whatever it is you did. That's just the type of person you are, and I'm never going to attempt to change that about you or dissuade you from doing so. But despite that, regardless of whether or not you made a bad judgment call, whatever that situation was boils down to a complete failure in this police department. You can't tell me that an officer was sitting behind the car that ended up doing this to you, made a U-turn and drove off. Because any competent police officer, after having heard what's going on, is not going to break off from a situation like that. It wouldn't even matter if we had to drag you out of the car and put you in the police car and drag you to another scene with us. There's no excuse for why that happened. I don't know.
I don't know either. Because as much as there's cops like you and Sky and, Sky called me, well, there was a car following me today when I drove from the house to here. Thought that it was Ziggy and Etcha, but I didn't know they were following me. I got confused. And I called the police because I thought it might have been that car again. And Sky called me straight away and asked me where I was, and 5 cop cars turned up. I guess the issue is that Sky is not always going to be around, and you're not always going to be around. It's a consistency thing, and as much as I trust you and cops like you, think what happened to me, and it's not even that I necessarily blame Alice, because I don't think she had bad intentions. I think it was just a failure.
I mean, again, I wasn't present for the situation, but I can't fathom someone like Alice who already had to deal with the fallout of Remington and Madison and breaking off from calls to deal with that. Same thing with Sky. Sky did the exact same thing for Remington. I can't, unless truthfully there were no units. I can't. I don't know the situation of whichever officer was nearby. Genuinely, just no idea. I don't know if they were going off duty. I don't know if they were responding to another call. I have no idea. But it truly does boil down to a department-wide failure across the board. We're back. In the past 2-3 days, we're back to skeleton crew numbers. And to make matters worse, half the time there's no EMS available. But we seemingly have an infinite pool of people to pull from who need to be trained, with a lot of time and resources allocated to them, trained by people who are completely burnt out and unwilling to train at the moment. I mean, call me naive, but when Turner was captain, I distinctly recall having a conversation with him and expressing interest in being an FTO. And the reason I did it was because I wanted to contribute to the solution and not the problem. You know, I sat there and I brought up facts. I brought up the numbers, our roster, how disastrous it was. And finally, when there was seemingly a light at the end of the tunnel, when we were told that recruitment's going to happen, interviews are going to be happening, people are going to be coming on, it's like, okay, you know what? I will FTO. And when I found out the way in which we were prioritizing new hires was taking on people with very little experience to immediately burn out the entirety of what little staff we had left, I lost it. I lost all interest right then and there. I had zero desire to be a senior officer, and reason being, I didn't want responsibility. I'll be a run-of-the-mill police officer with zero responsibility above, I'm not going to say the bare minimum because I've never been a bare minimum person, but I don't like where things are, and truthfully, if things don't change here in the next few months, I don't even know if I'm going to be in the police department. There's only so much I can subject myself to day in and day out for years on end and have it go so well. I've seen the tippity top of where a police department can be, and I feel we are at rock bottom at the moment. Thought we were at rock bottom 7 months ago, but when you take into account all the time and effort spent in the past 7 months to train people, to replace people who have left, to train people, to replace people who have left, train people and replace people who've left. Crazy. It's insane.
You can only look out for this department for so long before you have to start looking out for yourself. And I think that time's coming.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I sat in that room all day, pretty much every day, answering calls and getting cops to people like me who need help. And the one time I really needed help, I was told there was no units and that I would have to just hope and pray and just run. So I'm not doubting that there's good people in this department, but I can't lie and say that I have that all my trust is still there.
Honey, ignore the shot that's gonna get fired. Someone's doing a ballistics test.
And then with the family, it feels like it's just me and you. I mean, who disagree with what happened to, well, we know what happened.
Mm-hmm. When Etta called me earlier, she specifically brought up that she's not the same person that she was before. And I pretty much told her, listen, you don't have to explain that to me. You don't. Because that conversation that she had was with you and whoever else was there. And I can't make a decision
You
as
can't
to
make
whether or not.
decisions. Yeah, I get it.
If I was there and I heard how she said it, when she said it, with context, it's different. But her telling me that she's not the same that she was before, it means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing because if in that moment she decided to say, Judas deserved what was coming, or whatever. Again, I don't actually know what was happened, but essentially, if she said that, my opinion of her would change drastically. And
She didn't say that. She hold on.
when you described it to me, though, you had made mention of nobody there was against it. Nobody spoke out except you.
I said that it essentially I said to Etta, did Judas deserve to die because of the words that he said or text? And she responded to that by saying she responded to that by saying that she got, or either she got, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she either got someone or shot someone in the past for, I think it was moaning in her ear or something, basically justifying Rue's actions.
Well, honey, I don't know if you remember, but many years ago, there was a period of time in which it really was you and I against the world.
Yeah.
You remember leaving the police department, sheltering up in Chiliad, putting out a news announcement indicating all of the wrongdoing that was admitted to.
Yeah, I think I was a wanted terrorist.
Um, I'm just saying, if it ever came down to it, I'd be by your side. Now, there's nothing here right now specifically, but if it ever came down to it, don't get me wrong, I love Flop, love Etta, love Ziggy, but if they all ultimately decide to change the path of their life in a way in which we are heavily against, at the end of the day, we'll still have each other. And should an opportunity arise for us to let them know that things need to change, we can tell them.
Thanks, honey.
I love you. Always have and always will.
Love you too. You know what Sky's are about with Flop?
Not a clue. Not a clue. Let me see if there's any reports.
He spoke to me a day or two before I went to hospital, and he was taking some time off work.
What did you just do?
There's
I
nothing
told
wrong with
him,
that.
you know, he should do whatever feels right, and I think he was having some issues with you know, work and stuff.
Did you say what kind of issues?
Like if he had to pull over like the people that kidnapped him, that kind of thing. Like whether he'd be able to do it. He was a bit
Reasonable.
scared, and I told him that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to be scared. It's just about learning to control it and stuff like that. So, I don't know whether he's made a decision on that.
You think it's something that's not gonna pass? I don't want to say pass. That's the wrong term. That makes me sound shallow. Ugh. You know what I mean.
I don't know. But, you know, I was trying to talk to Flo, and it's not. I don't know.
Honey, I hope you realize that there is no talking to just Flop or just Ziggy or just Etta. Considering everything that's happened, they're all collectively going to be together.
I don't think I need to talk to any of them anymore. I think I've realized that, I'm not mad at them. I'll be honest. I think I'm the problem.
What makes you think that?
Imagine when you go to a carnival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's like, what do you call the cars that go around in the track? Like go-karts?
Yeah.
You go on a go-kart track, and everyone's going around one way. If I get in the car and I start going around the other way, who are you going to call the problem? Me. You're not going to point at all the other people and say, those guys are the problem. You're going to point at the one that's going the wrong way around the track. Everybody else, when I spoke to him the other day, had the same opinion. That Judas deserved what he got. So I'm the one who's causing rifts in the family. I'm not holding it together anymore. So the logical solution is to step away.
Honey. While I think you're right in saying you may be going the opposite way, you should first remember that while everyone originally started on that track, they were all going the same way. And then Ziggy turned around. And then Flop turned around. And Rue, don't know how she got there, but she started going the same way as Ziggy and Flop. And then Etta turned around. And so, I think you're forgetting here that you're the only person going in that original direction. You haven't changed, but the people around you have. And you can't be expected to take on this new norm of everybody going the opposite way. It's not feasible. It just isn't. People change. People adapt to their environment. People start sort of sacrificing their ethics, their morals. And that's something that I can firmly say without hesitation you have never done.
Well, I think that's it. I can't anymore. I have. I've stretched them far and wide, and I can't really sleep because of it. I can't do it anymore. And I don't think it's right for me to keep butting heads and causing fights because of it. I can't just force my will and moral compass upon people. So the better thing to do is just leave them to it.
We can see where things go. Again, it's so hard for me because I wasn't present for that conversation, but whatever your choice is, I 1,000,000% support you and will follow you through with whatever it is. Because much like you, I'm on that same track, going the original direction before everybody around us started turning around. And if that means that the entire world around us is now going the opposite way. Listen, I don't know about you, but I would be content and I would be able to sleep at night knowing that I stuck to what I morally believe in. And don't confuse that with me being sassy and saying things to get a rise out of people or anything to that extent. I may say some very messed up things, okay, but I truly would never want anybody to get harmed. That's the reality. And so despite what I may say to get a rise out of people, don't actually want anyone ever getting hurt.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know about you, but I am not in the right mindset to have a conversation with the others regarding everything. Number one, because Rue is very likely to be brought into it multiple times. I mean, I'm distancing myself from the investigation, but it still puts me in an incredibly awkward position. Regardless. And I don't want it to happen.
Do whatever you think is right, honey. I'll be by your side, whatever happens.
I appreciate that. You need a ride anywhere?
My car's outside. I'm all right.
You sure?
Yeah. I think I got some thinking to do, and I might go give that legislation a read.
I think that'd be a good idea. There's a lot, though. Take your time.
Okay.
I mean, not even I have gone through everything. There's so much. In fact, there's a PD TLDR. That's how long it is.
Okay. Well, thanks for talking to me.
Are you heading home?
No, I'll at the end of the courthouse for a bit. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll give you a call in a bit if you're staying around. Let you know what I'm doing.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
I love you, honey.
Love you too.
And if you need anything, I'm on duty, and you are my top priority.
Okay. All right. Well,
All right.
You go, because I'm gonna be slow. So.
Do you have your keys with you?
Yeah, I can get out of here.
All right.
I'll be all right.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, and then, you know, if my husband were to apply, you wanna deal with morals and ethics, he the guy. There is right and wrong. There's a line.
You were interested in applying, Dark?
Yeah, I'm very strongly considering it. I'll be honest, I only just got out of the hospital and gave it a read, but it seems like IA with teeth, and that's very interesting.
It's much more than IA with teeth. That's just one of its many responsibilities, honestly.
But that's the part that jumps out to me, obviously, and there's a lot more to it. But Yeah, so I am interested. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna be doing interviews today. Um, I actually just need to get a pred set up with some keys, and move some stuff around so we're like operational for the day. And then I could probably take your guys' interest and do interviews personally in a bit here if you're willing to be patient with me.
But can I can I speak to you
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I didn't
Am-
know. I don't know if I was.
Huh?
I don't know if I'm. I don't know what I'm doing.
What do you mean you don't know what you're doing? Honey, if there's one thing I know about you, it's that a position like this is something you've always sort of intended on having. Now, maybe I'm overstepping. It's possible I'm overstepping. But there was never a situation in which you had ever turned down any opportunity at IA. And unfortunately, every step of the way, those teeth got pulled. You got given IA by Pred. The moment you look at Pred, suddenly you got no more teeth, right? I think this is different. And considering everything going on, imagine a job in which you're essentially dealing with determining whether or not people are actually doing things properly, the correct way, as you've always done. If you don't want it, you can always say that. You know, you can ask to be put on you know, a sort of backup list of sorts, like, hey, you know, maybe not right now, but maybe in the future. But I mean, ultimately it's entirely up to you. I just think this would be a really fitting position. And I know it's sudden, but if coincidentally interviews and such are happening now, I'd hate to see you miss the opportunity if it's something you ultimately wanted to do.
Yeah, that's something I'm worried about. Is God, Derek, how's this all happening as soon as I get out of the hospital?
Some may say it's meant to be. You leave the hospital and this office opens up across the street. You'd be a state marshal. Plus, again, you have a skill set that I think others may lack. As fucked up as that sounds. Morals and ethics, you think Pred's gonna have that? No. Absolutely not. Everyone, much like the leadership issue I was mentioning before, where if you get someone who's identical to you, guess what? It's not going to be good. You'll never get challenged. If you take on 5 different people, 10 different people, all of which have different skill sets, y'all can sort of collectively put your minds together to figure out, with all of your information combined, whether or not something is good or bad. Whether or not something should or should not have happened. When looking into things to determine whether or not somebody's being truthful, y'all can piece all that together with your different areas of expertise. I think you'd be great.
I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna take 10 minutes. I'm gonna think about it.
Okay. And don't forget, you'll also have the backing of Angel should you get the position. Somebody who, despite being with Pred and knowing his downfalls, always stayed true to her. And did not stray from Angel being Angel just because.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You think she'd want me?
I truly believe that they would happily take you on.
All right.
You have to go. I wish you the best. Okay. Again, you don't have to do it, but if it's something you even think you'd be interested in, go for it. Don't miss out on the opportunity. It may not come up again.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
All right.
I'm gonna go get changed because that guy's wearing my shirt.
You wore it better. Wait, no. Don't change for anybody. Fuck that guy.
You don't think I should change it?
You were here first. Plus, you wore it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
All right. Well, love you, honey. Good luck. You're gonna nail it.
Thank you.
And you loved it when you would fucking suspend me for shit. What other sheriff would let you suspend him? You know you're in good hands, bitch.
Hey. I didn't mind you call me that.
All right, sorry.